Hello and welcome to HW News English. I am Shubham Chohan. It was day 2, the final day of the Cockroach conclave here in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, where the core committee meeting of the Cockroach Janta party took place at Abhijeet Dipke's residence. All eyes were, of course, on the press conference that the CJP took, the plans they announced, and the comments and the statements that CJP founder Abhijeet Dipke made with his entire core committee present while addressing the media. So in this video, we'll take you through some of the key highlights of the press conference. What are the topics on which Dipke and his team spoke about? What is the future of the Cockroach Janta party, and how will this movement proceed? Now, to begin with, there was a little bit of commotion, a little bit of drama that happened in the lead up to that press conference. In fact, we are standing outside Dipke's residence, and just behind me, all of a sudden at about 1:15, you had two people who said they were CJP volunteers from Gujarat. They came here and they started protesting outside Abhijeet Dipke's house. They first did a sit-in. The security personnel present outside Dipke's house took them aside. There were two of them who had come from Gujarat. Amidst this commotion, when the sort of media asked what their grouse was, what their grievance was, one of them was very clear in what the issue or their grievance was. That person said that they want the decision making of the Cockroach Janta party to be decentralized. He said he was not happy with the way things were functioning in the CJP, how only a select few people were taking the major decisions. And he said, we don't want another Arvind Kejriwal. We want a more consultative process in the CJP, and we want people from different states, volunteers from different states to be included as part of the decision making process.
देश में आंदोलन खड़ा हुआ है, बहुत बड़ी बात है। देश के लोगों का गुस्सा है। जब ये
मेरा मोबाइल लाओ ना, तुम्हारी गाड़ी में
किसी को पता नहीं था पीछे कौन है, और ये फेसलेस नहीं हो तो कोई बात नहीं, पर इसमें डेमोक्रेसी होनी चाहिए, इंटरनल डेमोक्रेसी। हम अगर धर्मेंद्र प्रधान की अकाउंटेबिलिटी मांगते हैं तो हमारे भीतर भी एक अकाउंटेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए। जो लोग वॉलंटियर हैं उनको आप आपके फैमिली के मेंबर 3-3 कजिन मीटिंग में रहते हैं, आपके कॉलेज के फ्रेंड मीटिंग में रहते हैं, आप क्यों इसको सेंट्रलाइज करना चाहते हो? मूवमेंट को डिसेंट्रलाइज करो ना। कोई भी डिसीजन लेना है, हर राज्य के 4-5 लोग आपकी टीम में होने चाहिए, फिर पॉलिसी बनाओ। अभी तो एक आंदोलन हो गया, क्यों 8 लोगों को डिसीजन लेना है? ये देश का आंदोलन है। जैसे कि राहुल गांधी जी ने कल 5 लोगों जो आंदोलन के चेहरे बने थे, रिया थी, वो भरत था, ऐसे लोग थे, तो इनको राहुल गांधी ने बुलाया। ये आंदोलन के चेहरे हमें बुलाने चाहिए थे, हमें इनको बोलना चाहिए कि हमारी टीम से जुड़ो। ये लोग कोई राजनीति में जुड़े हुए लोग नहीं थे, पर जब हम इनको महत्व नहीं देंगे, इनको बुलाएंगे नहीं और 8-10 लोगों की मीटिंग करके हम सब डिसाइड करेंगे, तो हम देश में दूसरा अरविंद केजरीवाल नहीं चाहते। डेमोक्रेसी हो, इंटरनल अकाउंटेबिलिटी हो, देश के सारे लोगों को, सारे वॉलंटियर को पूछ के, आपके दोस्त डिसाइड नहीं करेंगे, आपके कजिन डिसाइड नहीं करेंगे, आपके कॉलेज के फ्रेंड डिसाइड नहीं करेंगे कि इस मीटिंग में कौन आएगा।
He, in fact, that man said that he will have a fast run to death here outside Dipke's house until his grievances are addressed. That is what happened. Subsequently, of course, the police took these two volunteers away, and it was time for the all-important press briefing. Abhijeet Dipke, flanked by his spokespersons Saurav Das, Ashutosh Ranka, Ratna Singh, Deepak Balyan, everybody was present there, and Abhijeet Dipke spoke at length as to what happened in the last 2 days, what happened in the last 2 months, what is the feedback that they got, and what is it that they are planning to do. Now, the first and foremost that Abhijeet Dipke cleared, and this is something that he said previously also, is that the first major takeaway from the press conference, the CJP is not going to form a political party just yet. Abhijeet Dipke maintained that the CJP is a pressure group. They will function as a pressure group, where they will raise issues of public importance and demand accountability from the government.
कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी क्या है और क्यों? क्योंकि हमने डिक्लेयर किया कि पब्लिक प्रेशर ग्रुप बनना है, तो पब्लिक प्रेशर ग्रुप क्यों बन के रहना है? तो हम ये बता देना चाहते हैं दोस्तों कि हम जानते हैं कि लोग चाहते हैं, युवा चाहती है कि कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बने, लेकिन इस टाइम पे जिस किस्म के हालात है इस देश में, इस हालात में एक और पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बनना कोई यूजफुल नहीं होगा, ऐसा हमें लगता है।
The second major point that Abhijeet Dipke talked about is the future roadmap. And what he has announced is that the CJP will undertake a nationwide tour starting September. Now, this nationwide tour is where the CJP team will meet people, will meet different stakeholders, will meet youngsters, civil society members, activists, and everybody across the board to get a broader view on what their grievances are and what they want, what are the answers they want from the government. Now, Dipke started the press conference by saying that the CJP believes in the constitution and in the ideas and the beliefs and the values of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, and India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He said this is something that is absolutely essential and a core part of what the CJP is and what the CJP believes in. He then went on to say that he of course announced the campaign that I told you about. It's called Kya Bolti Hai Public? What are the people saying? This is the campaign that Abhijeet Dipke announced, where they said that they will speak to all stakeholders across the country. The CJP team will travel in September to meet people from different parts of the country.
हम एक अनाउंसमेंट करने जा रहे हैं। सितंबर के महीने में कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी एक नेशन वाइड कैंपेन शुरू करने जा रही है। ये एक तरीके का नेशन वाइड टूर होगा हमारा। इस कैंपेन का नाम होगा क्या बोलती पब्लिक, क्योंकि अभी जो जरूरत है वो पब्लिक की बात होने का जरूरत है। पब्लिक को अपनी बात रखनी पड़ेगी। पब्लिक की आवाज सुनने का वक्त आ चुका है अब, और अगर आप पब्लिक की आवाज नहीं सुनोगे तो पब्लिक ये सड़कों पर उतरेगी।
In terms of the agenda, what is their top priority? What is the Cockroach Janta Party's top priority? Education reforms is what the CJP founder said. That is their number one priority. They said that the protests at Jantar Mantar showed that once the youngsters of this country mobilize and demand answers from the government has to concede and accountability has to be fixed. And he said that a lot of people at Jantar Mantar told them to not just restrict their protest to Jantar Mantar or the NEET paper leak, but to expand the horizon and take up more issues of public importance and issues that matter to the youngsters of this country. On education particularly, Abhijeet Dipke said that education is something that is a basic right of an individual, and yet it is out of reach for so many of the people, basically making the point that education has become expensive in the country and only a select few can afford it, and eventually families, middle class, lower middle class families end up into the trap of debt where they just keep borrowing money in order to be able to get good education for the children. He said that more than 90,000 government schools have been shut, so one can really see the state of the government schools, and private education is becoming unaffordable to say the least, even for somebody in class 1 or class 2, and the load that it takes on the parents. That is what Abhijeet Dipke said. And he then said that the Cockroach Janta Party, in the next big takeaway of the press conference was that Abhijeet Dipke was very clear that the Cockroach Janta Party wants to be part of the political discourse, yet not be a formal political party in that sense. And I'll tell you the reason for that in a minute, the reasoning that Abhijeet Dipke has hinted in the past. But on the issue of political discourse, what Abhijeet Dipke said that, you look around the states of India and the narratives and the issues that dominate are Hindu, Muslim, are communal, are polarizing. He gave the example of Uttar Pradesh where they talk about Mandir, Masjid. He gave the example of Maharashtra, where Batoge to Katoge became that controversial slogan during the election. He said this is what is happening in today's politics, and the CJP wants to change that. They want the discourse to be around education, to be around youngsters, because bulk of India's population, a large section of India's population is under the age of 35. These are the people who will form the future of India, and based on that, it is important, it is imperative for the government to listen to what the youngsters have to say. And the youngsters want jobs. They want a secure future for themselves. The teenagers want good education. They want to ensure that the schools they study in are good, neat, clean. They have the required teaching facility as well. So that is what one part of the CJP press conference and what their agenda is. On the issue of not being a political party, because in the question and answers that followed the briefing of the Cockroach Janta Party, everybody asked him why is he not forming the political party, because the counter to Dipke's remarks is being put forth in a manner where, look, if you have to make a change in the system, you have to be a part of it, you have to enter it. But Abhijeet Dipke was very clear, and he countered that by saying that if you take a look at Indian politics and the state it is in, particularly with the opposition, how opposition's voice is being stifled, how investigative agencies are being unleashed, how the opposition is not being allowed to survive, how defections have become the new normal. You vote for a particular MP, MLA, corporator in the morning, and that person goes and jumps ship. So he was sort of clear and emphatic in that sense, where he said that political party is not on the cards right now. What they're looking at is making changes in the system by becoming a pressure group, by having youngsters and student organizations on board. And this is an appeal that Abhijeet Dipke made as well, that civil society members, activists, student associations across the line, he urged them to come together. He said they'll form a coalition, the CJP in association with these, or in collaboration with these student associations, they will form a broader coalition so as to raise the voice of the youngsters. Then he spoke about some of the biggest points besides education reforms, the points that the CJP has grievances against. One of which was against the Election Commission of India. He said things have gotten to a point, Dipke said, that things have gotten to a point where the Election Commission, or the government rather, will decide who votes and who doesn't, and this is something that is absolutely dangerous in a democracy. The next big grievance of Abhijeet Dipke was with the Supreme Court and the judiciary. He highlighted the VVIP culture, that somebody who has the reach, who has the wealth and influence, he can ensure a fast-track hearing for himself or herself in the judiciary. But for a common person, tariq pe tariq, the good old dialogue goes, and that still holds true. Dipke said that while this is tariq pe tariq has become a joke, the fact of the matter remains that access to the judiciary for the common man is becoming a big problem. It is inaccessible to a certain point. Now, one of the other points that Dipke also made was the fact that the expectations from the CJP, he was speaking in that context, and Abhijeet Dipke said that the expectations are high from the Cockroach Janta Party, no doubt, but he also said that it is not correct to pin all expectations, all hopes on one person. He said that if anybody, any individual party or organization comes to you and says that we will change everything, we will solve all your problems, that is false and bogus. That is what Abhijeet Dipke said, and he cited the example of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014. He said he was a man who had promised a lot, but Dipke said has delivered very little. So that was also one point that Dipke made on the expectations of the cockroach that a lot of people were having from the Cockroach Janta Party. The last grievance that Dipke had, the Cockroach Janta Party had, was with the media. The Godi media is how Dipke addressed them as. Dipke was clear that the people who had come to cover the press conference, because mind you, there were a host of journalists, not just from Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, but from Mumbai as well. Dipke said that while he respected the fact that the ground reporters were here covering the press conference while they were doing their jobs, the grievance, the main complaint, the anger or the dissatisfaction of the CJP and the youngsters is against those top editors and anchors sitting in lavish plush AC studios who are not raising the voice of the people, who are out there to discredit any and every dissent voice. And Dipke added that they are doing this for, he said that we understand the reality of the mainstream media is that they are reliant on government ads. So, if you can't press the government the wrong way, we understand that. But it's important that the media also realizes that they raise the issues that matter to the people, that matter to the youngsters. And Dipke said that the Jantar Mantar agitation had showed which media house stands where, and the scene of independent journalism in India. He was, of course, countered by some of the local journalists here saying that, look, you complain against the media, but it's the same mainstream media and several other smaller digital channels as well who have come here, taken out the time, and they are broadcasting your press conference. They're showing their press conference. They're showing your press conference. They are showing what you have to say. So that was also one complaint, while Dipke emphasized that no, ground reporters is not the problem. The top anchors and those sitting in AC rooms are the problem.
कंसर्निंग बात है, कई मीडिया के साथी यहाँ खड़े हुए हैं। ये ग्राउंड रिपोर्टर से आप लोगों की हम बहुत इज्जत करते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोगों को पता है आप कितनी मेहनत करते हो। लेकिन जो मीडिया हाउसेस है उनको कहीं ना कहीं समझना पड़ेगा, देश की जनता आपसे काफी नाराज है। वो नाराज इसलिए क्योंकि आप उनकी बात नहीं कर रहे हो। आप एक पार्टी के गुणगान करने में लगे हुए हो, आप एक पार्टी का बस एजेंडा चलाने में लगे हो। आप उस पार्टी से ना सवाल करते हो, ना आप उस पार्टी से पूछते हो कि अगर आप कोई डिसीजन ले रहे हो उस पर जो पब्लिक का ओपिनियन है आप वो भी नहीं दिखाते हो। आप हर चीज को मास्टर स्ट्रोक करते रहेंगे, कहते रहेंगे। सरकार कोई डिसीजन लेती है वो भी मास्टर स्ट्रोक है, सरकार कोई डिसीजन वापस लेती है वो भी मास्टर स्ट्रोक है। तो मुझे लगता है कि मीडिया को अगर इतना ही हर चीज में मास्टर स्ट्रोक दिख रहा है तो ये जनता आपके टीवी चैनल्स देखना बंद कर देगी। आपको तय करना है कि क्या आप जनता की आवाज बनना चाहते हो या आपको बस एक पार्टी की आवाज बने रहना है, आपको बस क्या एक पार्टी की आवाज ही दिखानी है। और मुझे इसकी पता है चीज है, बड़े बड़े एडवर्टाइजमेंट मिलते हैं सरकार से, उसकी वजह से ये सब होता है। इन एडवर्टाइजमेंट से ही आपका मीडिया हाउसेस चलता है। लेकिन ये मत भूलिए, अगर जनता ने मीडिया चैनल्स बंद कर दिए तो एडवर्टाइजमेंट का अचार डालोगे आप। जब देखने के लिए कोई नहीं रहेगा तो जनता के मुद्दों की बात करिए। अगर आप जनता के मुद्दों की बात नहीं करोगे तो वही होगा। जंतर मंतर का जो आंदोलन है वो सबसे बढ़िया एग्जाम्पल है। मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया ने इस आंदोलन को पूरा ब्लैकआउट करके रखा था, किसी ने भी चलाया नहीं था।
So that was what the CJP spoke about in their press briefing. In the Q&A, he was asked about on a range of questions. He was asked on a range of topics. One of which was about Sonam Wangchuk. He maintained that Sonam Wangchuk is his mentor. He has been in touch with him, but he didn't clearly outline as to how will Sonam Wangchuk feature in the Cockroach Janta Party's future plans. That has not been outlined. All that has been said is that he's a mentor for Dipke and the CJP. When we raised the question about government crackdown, the fear of a government crackdown on the CJP as it expands its protest, Dipke said things can't get worse. Our access to water was denied when we were at Jantar Mantar, and all sorts of things were done to us. So we don't fear anything at this point.
Do you believe the government crackdown on you will intensify as you shape this organization, firstly? And secondly, we've seen what has happened with Sonam Wangchuk. You maintain that he is a mentor of the CJP. In what shape and form will we see Mr. Wangchuk proceed in this organization?
First of all, I don't know what more intense crackdown there can be. We have already seen a lot. We have seen a lot on 20 July. We have seen a lot in last 1 month where even our water supply to the washrooms were cut by the police. People were sent at my house to threaten me. What intense crackdown there could be. If they want to send any investigative agencies, if they want to put us in jail, we are ready for that. They are free to do that. If they think that is their constitutional right, they are free to do that. We believe we have some other constitution, and we believe that we have some other constitutional rights which were given to us by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and using those constitutional rights we are going to move forward.
He then said that the only next plausible option is for the government to put us in jail if they feel that is the way to go. He said that we are not afraid to go to jail. That is the key point that Abhijeet Dipke made, that none of the people in the CJP are sort of afraid of what the government will do with regards to whatever the CJP does in the future. On the other bit that Dipke and the CJP was asked about is the funding. How will the Cockroach Janta Party scale up, or how will they manage to undertake this campaign? Because all said and done, the fact of the matter is you need money to be able to scale up your movement, to be able to travel, to be able to have an organization in place. To which Dipke said that in the days to follow, they will launch a crowdfunding campaign where they will ask the people to donate to their movement. And besides that, of course, the CJP spokesperson Saurav Das and Ashutosh Ranka also launched a membership drive of the Cockroach Janta Party with a QR code. They said they urge people to join their movement so that they continue to raise the voice of the people. Ashutosh Ranka also announced the formation of a national working committee where the convener of the Cockroach Janta Party is their founder and president Abhijeet Dipke. Co-conveners are Ashutosh Ranka and Saurav Das, and he went on to outline what the National Working Committee looks like. There are also representatives that they have appointed in zones: West Zone, North Zone, East and Northeast, and the South. That is how the CJP will decentralize and sort of bifurcate their state-wise movement. That is another point that was made. On the outreach by the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Now, while we are recording this video, RSS Chief Dr. Mohan Bhagwat is scheduled to speak in Mumbai at the IIMUN conference. He will be speaking to Gen Zs and Gen Alpha. what is interesting to note is the outreach and the time at which it has come. It has, of course, come in the wake of the successful protest of the CJP. But just a few days back, we had another RSS leader a few days back where he said that, these students were anti-India and so on and so forth. The students who protested, all of that happened. And now you have Dr. Mohan Bhagwat reaching out to these youngsters in Mumbai. So we asked Abhijeet Dipke about that. He said this is too little too late. While he welcomed that, interacting with the Gen Z is always welcome, because so far this government has even refused to hurt them out. He said that this step is welcome, but it is too little too late.
Mohan Bhagwat being, I think, the mentor of the BJP, the godfather of the BJP, he should have come forward, he should have interacted with those kids, and he should have made the Prime Minister apologize to those kids who were beaten up by the police on the instructions of Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. Although if he wishes to interact with the Gen Z, it's a good thing. That means the youth of this country, the Gen Z, have compelled these people to come to the Gen Z and to have a dialogue with them, because until now they were dismissive of them.
Now, besides that, Abhijeet Dipke also took questions on what the CJP, how the CJP will sort of operate when it comes to the bifurcation that we've been seeing, a BJP ruled state and an opposition ruled state. The example that was cited is Jharkhand, where students are protesting. Like we've been saying, this is an opposition ruled state. The JMM and the Congress rule the state. The allegations against the CJP are that they're soft pedaling, or they're not raising this issue as much because it is an opposition ruled state, to which Ashutosh Ranka mentioned that a delegation of the Cockroach Janta Party is reaching Ranchi to interact with the students there, and they have offered their full support. The Cockroach Janta Party has offered their full support to the students protesting in Ranchi.
हमारी 3 दिन पहले बहुत डिटेल्ड डिस्कशन हुआ था, अभिजीत भी उस समय कॉल पे था, वहाँ के छात्रों से बहुत डिटेल में विस्तार में हमने वहाँ उनकी समस्या समझी है, क्या उनकी डिमांड्स हैं उनको बहुत डिटेल में समझा है। सीजेपी की पूरी टीम झारखंड में जो भी हमारे साथी प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं उनके समर्थन में खड़ी है। हम झारखंड की सरकार से मांग करते हैं कि उनकी सभी डिमांड्स को एक्सेप्ट किया जाए। आज जब हम ये बात कर रहे हैं, सीजेपी की तरफ से एक डेलीगेशन रांची पहुंच रहा है, वो वही सभी प्रोटेस्टिंग छात्रों से मिलेंगे, उनकी बात समझेंगे, उनका साथ देंगे और उनको जिस भी प्रकार का सपोर्ट चाहिए होगा सीजेपी की तरफ से मुहैया कराया जाएगा। और जल्द ही हम लोग भी झारखंड जाकर प्रोटेस्टिंग छात्रों के साथ बैठेंगे।
That is really some of the key takeaways and the sum and substance of this all important press conference here at Abhijeet Dipke's residence in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. Point number 1, CJP is not going to be a political party for now. It is going to be a public pressure group, as Abhijeet Dipke put it. September is when they will start their Kya Bolti Hai public campaign, reaching out to people, reaching out to stakeholders. Education reforms is their top priority, and some of the other issues that the CJP felt strongly about were also mentioned in this press conference, including the judiciary, the election commission, and the role of the media. That is where things stand now. It's over to September when the CJP organization takes to the ground and starts to expand their movement, and their core aim being the fact that this government for the last 12 years has not heard the Gen Z. It's time that the Gen Z makes their voice heard. That is what the clear message from Abhijeet Dipke, the founder of the Cockroach Janta Party, was. We'll of course be tracking how the CJP proceeds in the days to follow. That's all we have for this report. Thank you so much for watching.